go-getters is the movement, huh?
Yeah, go getters.
Okay. So
Sir.
tell me about that. I mean, so who's involved? How did it
So
start?
go getters is really just it started off as like, my clothing brand.
Hmm.
And then I turned it into like, my record label like distribution,
Okay.
what I distribute my music through.
Okay.
Um and realistically it was just like it started off with like a hand rolling a dice four, five,
I
six.
seen that.
And that's really just like taking a chance. So like to start off, like
Ooh, I like that.
when I first made my like prototypes of my shirts and stuff, I would hit up people close to me and I would just be like, yo bro, I made some shirts, you trying to support?
Sure.
And I was looking for the people that just off the rip was just like, yeah bro, I got you.
Of
Like
course.
not the people were like, oh, I gotta see it first, I gotta
Which is most people,
see,
unfortunately.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I gotta see if I can rock it, if it's my style. It
For
was
sure.
realistically like I was looking for people that were just gonna like just support me just cause
Absolutely.
like type shit, and those are the people I was trying to build with
Gotcha.
off the rip. So as like I just kept working on my music and stuff, I realized that a lot of people take your publishing, and that's like a whole nother sector of like when it comes to dropping music. So uh what I did was I just made it my everything,
Okay.
just dropped my music through it, my clothes, and I'm definitely expanding on it.
Okay.
So it's gonna be more than just that. I also want to start a branch of like consulting. So I want to create contracts between producers,
Hmm.
engineers, photographers,
Sure.
videographers, just all people that are well rounded and
Sure.
all the things and all the components that you need for music, and just pretty much lock in, like pretty much just lock in people that need help
Sure.
and lock in the people that can help,
Sure.
and just being that bridge in between type shit.
So basically, your dream is to make people's dreams come true, in a sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. That's
yeah.
that's kind of cool. How old are you?
I'm 22.
22. You're a young buck, grown man, but
Say.
a young man.
Feel me?
All right. So, wh- who makes up the team?
Um, for the most part, it's just me.
Hmm.
I have my homie Retro Halo.
Yep.
He's an artist as well, but he's one of like my most heaviest supporters off the rip.
Okay.
So it's just like, bro, that's the bro. So
No, I was checking out your music. You, Retro, and your boy TKO Sanye.
yeah, Tokyo Sanya.
Tokyo Sanye. Okay.
Say.
All right. And I gotta say, man, I was very, very impressed with the music. Who's producing your beats?
So my homie Sakori Notes.
Okay.
He was producing a lot of like my earlier work.
Okay.
Even up to like my latest shit too.
Sure.
Um, I just been working heavy with him.
Okay.
And then it's just other producers around the city.
Okay.
You know, just happening.
One of the things that really stood out to me listening to your music is that you guys have your own sound. A lot of issues that the older generations have with the younger guys is, for a while it felt like everybody sounded like everybody, right?
Yeah, for the
And
most part, yeah.
for us, one of the worst things you could have done was biting someone else's style, right? Sound like somebody else. And it was really refreshing to kind of hear you, um, and really not. I mean, I heard the elements of. I can hear influences. You know what I mean? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard a little bit of Juice World, a little bit of Migos. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that's just a wave of your generation, but it sounded like you, uniquely you, and I can appreciate that. The beats were very dark but melodic, and even the subject matter, it sounded like you were just being authentic and you weren't trying to be something that you're not. And I heavily, heavily respect that. So, tell me a little bit about you. What made you the man you are today, the young man that you are today, the artist that you are today. So, with whatever you're comfortable with, kind of tell me what the kind of environment you were brought up in.
Yeah. I just started off like a team from the bean. It was really just at a really young age. I had a head start on thinking about what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Okay.
And
Expand on that.
you know, first, I wanted to be a neurosurgeon, like on some wild shit.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah,
Continue.
and then I was in the hospital for like a full day, and I was like, yeah, I can't do this shit because it was just like there's no windows in there. Yeah, you
Sure.
can find hospitals with windows.
Sure.
It's just like, bro, I'm not trying to do.
You just didn't like the environment.
Yeah, like I'm not trying to be here every day.
Yeah.
All of that, and I went to a vocational high school,
Okay.
in Lexington,
Okay.
and one thing that they pushed heavy was just like, uh, finding a career that you love.
Sure.
That way, it's like it's not like you're working every day. It's like
Sure.
you're doing what you love.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Not like, damn, I gotta go to work today. It's just more or less like,
So when did you decide it was music?
all right. Pretty much like my junior, senior year type shit.
Okay.
It was just more or less like, my whole life, like from as little as I can remember, like on the Xbox when they had like the little karaoke shit, my uncle would, you know, hand me the mic and everybody was just, doing karaoke and shit. And I remember my uncle and his friends, they would go to the studio and be playing their tracks, when they came home. And I just like from a very young age, I just always remember that and admire that shit.
Sure.
There were points in my time where like I kind of just brush that shit off and not really think about it. But like I said, as I got older, it just kept coming back, and eventually I just gave in.
So was there a moment, a specific moment you can think where it's just like, you know what, this is what I want to do with my life?
um, that's a good question. For the most part, at first, no, there wasn't
Mm.
because as I was looking for like producers to work with, studios to go to,
Yeah.
there wasn't that much of that in the city, like that were trying to help people that didn't have anything to offer. You
Gotcha.
know what I mean?
Like money for a studio time, you mean?
Not even that.
What do you mean?
Like you don't have any past work, anything to show people, like any tracks, like
Gotcha.
nothing. Like,
Gotcha.
you're just trying to work. Like, yo, I need beats.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Or like, I even had money to pay people, but it was just like I had hit up my homie from middle school, and he was like, "For all my beats I rapped on," and
Hmm.
I feel like that point for me was just like pre Astro World,
Okay.
like Owl Pharaoh,
Okay.
like Travis Scott,
Yeah.
Owl
Yeah.
Pharaoh, and like Days Before Rodeo.
Okay.
That was really like when I was like, yeah, bro, I want to do this
Okay.
shit. Cause Travis, like, he put a hand in everything that he did. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I
He's a
admire
talented
that.
dude.
Yeah. And even like Kanye as well. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it was really Travis.
Okay.
for me personally.
Sure.
Um, yeah.
So he inspired you to really take the step forward and become an artist yourself. No, that's dope. I mean, anybody who's creative has that individual or groups of individuals like that, and hate him or love him, Travis is a really, really talented dude, you know. Um, okay, so where you from?
I'm from Dorchester.
Okay,
Yeah.
and born and raised.
Born and raised,
Okay.
yeah.
So what were you like as a kid? Were you an introvert? Were you extroverted?
Shit, I was mad annoying. No
What do
bullshit.
you
I
mean by that?
always,
What do you
I
mean
asked
by that?
mad
Okay.
questions. Um, I don't know. It's just mad annoying. Like honestly,
I,
I mean that's what other people would say.
You know what? Yeah, and the fact that the fact that you said that, and that's the first thing that you said. You know what that tells me? You're smart. I mean, even how you're conducting, so everyone knows out there. I don't know this kid from a hole in the wall. We connected on TikTok, and he forwarded me some links to his music and his friend's music, and we're here now. And I have to say, I'm very very impressed. Um, but listening to your music, I wanted more. My man over here, Sanye has music. He has a whole catalog and go through it, and I gotta say the music's dope. Um, but you and Retro have what 2-3 tracks out, and I'm like, what's going on? Give me more, cause I gotta say that time joint I played at least 10 times. At least 10 times. That shit go hard.
Appreciate that.
And
that's my boy, Orly White and Sakori who produced that.
And that sound, so whatever that sound is, gravitate towards that, because nobody sounds like that, and it's dark, but it's melodic, and it's you, and you want. This is me personally, and I'm an old head, but my opinion is you want to create a sound that's dope and hard to replicate. You know what I'm saying? You want to be cookie cutter. You know what I'm saying? You want to when you hear an Andre 3000 beat, and I'm saying this because I'm old head, that's not Andre 3000 song. You know what I'm saying? In the 2010s, I kind of felt like everybody sounded like the Migos. You know what I'm saying? And it's cool to be influenced by somebody, but to take their template and regurgitate it, and it doesn't take any talent at all.
Yeah, it doesn't stick.
It doesn't stick. And so let me ask you this: for that, since I love that song, I need answers. Is there a hook there, or are you going through the whole thing just kind of?
Yeah.
Did you freestyle that, or did you write that?
No, that was written. And like,
because I was gonna say there was a few. There was because there were a few bars in there where you were fucking spitting. And I was like, there's no way this little nigga's freestyling this.
I mean, nah, it was Time was actually a song that I had written.
Okay.
And when I heard the beat originally, it kind of like flew over my head type shit. You know what I mean? Like the first time I hit the studio,
You didn't like.
I'm not gonna say I didn't like it, but like it was like it flew over my head type shit. And like I had to ask one of my homies, like, bro, you think I should hop on that? And he's like, duh. So I'm like, alright. And the first time I went to the studio to record it, like I recorded the first portion of it,
Okay.
and
that was written beforehand, obviously.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And then like the last part, staying out late, no, we're not going home. That shit, like for some reason I couldn't like I couldn't get it out. Like, yo, like I don't know, like I needed water, some food, some shit, but I just wouldn't come out type shit,
it happens.
And months ended up going by after, so I had left the studio after that shit because I literally couldn't talk. Like, like I was dehydrated. I needed food, some shit. Like I really can't even. Yeah, that's what I chalk it up to. Like on some spiritual shit.
Yeah.
Like, but like months later, I ended up re-recording the whole shit. You know what I mean? And that's what it turned out to be.
It wasn't ready, man. Like when it comes to any creative endeavor, whether it be music or art, it's no different than a plant when you seed it, right? Sometimes a plant isn't ripe, and maybe you just weren't in a place in your life where you were ready to bear fruit. You dig? That's dope, man. So you asked a lot of questions. Did you have like a lot of energy as a kid? Were you extroverted?
Yeah, I was high energy. And I was an only child for a while.
Okay.
And it was just more or less like I was alone a lot of the time.
Sure.
So like when I was around other people, I would just get really excited.
Sure.
But for the most part, like I don't really feel like I was annoying.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like more or less I was misunderstood.
Sure.
And more or less, I feel like I misunderstood myself.
Like,
you know
like
what
most
I mean?
people, sure.
I didn't really have a sense of purpose, and that's kind of why I was the way I was.
It's very surprising and refreshing to hear a young man talk like yourself. You're an old soul, and I'm sure I'm not the first person to say that.
Shit, I mean, you are.
Okay, well, I mean, again, I don't know you from a hole in the wall, but from what you're presenting to me right now, you strike me as a person who's an old soul. So, your music, as I mentioned before, your music's very, very unique. And one thing I'm always interested to hear from other creatives is what's their process. Do you need a certain environment for you to write in or to spit in? Like, how do you create whatever it is that you're creating?
First first, I feel like it's just more or less I need time. Like
Okay.
no pun intended. I just really just need time.
Okay.
But as I've grown over the years with my process, now it is what it is because I pretty much engineer myself. Like going forward.
So who recorded those songs for you?
My homie Sakori.
Okay, and is it a full studio? Is it just like a bedroom setup kind of a situation?
We started off in the crib,
Okay.
like recording at the crib,
Okay.
and we moved over to a studio in Hyde Park.
Okay.
Started working out of there.
Okay.
But now I record at the crib and I just send my tracks out for mixing.
Okay.
Or I'll attempt to mix it myself type shit.
We got Retro in the building. Nice to meet you, sir. Pleasure.
You want to pull a seat?
Oh, yeah.
What's good, guys?
All right, so we got Retro.
Yeah, it's Retro.
And we got Wiz.
Feel me?
So, since we got you here, what's going on, man? How you doing so far?
I'm doing great.
Thank you for coming by. Are you on the mic?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, right there. Just want to make it a little closer so I can't really hear you. There you go.
I got you. What's good, guys?
That's why I can't hear you. There you go.
What's good, guys?
All right, there you go. So we got to get to know Wiz a little bit. Now that you're here,
I'm glad because not many people do.
what about yourself? Where you from, brother?
Born and raised Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay, whereabouts?
Roxbury and Austin.
Okay.
I've been everywhere.
So you're an artist as well.
Yes,
Okay.
all around.
Okay, and you guys are part of the same collective.
Definitely.
Okay.
Gladly.
So who are your major influences? Who shaped your sound coming up, would you say?
A lot of people.
Okay.
Because I listen to a lot of different genres, you feel me? Pretty much everything.
Okay.
So I have a lot of favorite artists and influences, like in each and every separate type of genre.
Okay.
So like, that's how big of a field.
Okay, so name a couple of genres that we wouldn't expect you to listen to.
So what I make, I guess I could say, is my own style of like trap and R&B, and even alternative, and kind of mixes in with everything. But what I listen to is literally everything: rap, hip hop, R&B, alternative, indie, rock, metal, old, new.
Good music is good music.
Everything, literally. EDM, techno, fucking house, fucking even different like music that comes from different languages, like, you feel me, like, everything. Anything that sounds good to me, at least, I try to always dissect it for the better.
So the questions that I left off with Wiz before you guys came in here was, where is the music? I was listening to the tunes, and I rock with you guys, and I wanted more.
Bitch.
So I mean, is that a marketing ploy? Are you guys just are you setting up for some kind of marketing campaign? But where is the music?
So to be honest,
I have an individual answer.
All right, so it's all right.
So me personally, I just started dropping music this year. Like my vault is extensive right now, but every month I'm dropping some, like whether it's a video.
That's the goal this year, to drop something. Okay.
Every month.
Both music and visual.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, it's coming.
Okay.
But for the most part, it's like I just started dropping. So,
okay. So we're gonna get at least one thing a month from you.
At least.
Okay. Are you dropping a project anytime soon?
Yeah, actually, Time is an Illusion should be dropping soon. I ain't even gonna say when, but it's dropping.
You have an idea when you want to drop it?
Yeah.
What about you?
I have actually an album gonna drop this. 2 albums actually gonna drop this year.
Okay. Is there a timeline?
I'm trying to drop this first album before summer.
Okay.
At least, and then I'm trying to drop.
It's like 2-3 months, brother.
Yeah. And I'm trying to drop another one. Either at the end of summer or right after summer, so like fall.
Now, are these songs already created, or are you okay? Yeah. So they're in the vault.
Yeah, in the vault.
Okay.
Mixed, mastered.
Okay.
Everything.
So
and along with that, both me and him, not even put together, but individually have like crazy amount of projects to work on. behind what we're gonna be dropping.
So you guys are stacked up.
Yeah. What you're gonna see now is what we've already been working on. Like our new shit is. There's always gonna be something new. There's always gonna be something new coming. There's always gonna be some new yo is gonna be. Weighing on, I guess.
And I had mentioned to him earlier, the one thing that I love, because he had sent me the links to 3 of you guys, and the one thing that immediately stuck out, and what I can appreciate as an old head, is the fact that you guys are individuals. You guys have your own particular sound. But let's talk about the drip, though.
Right?
I mean, so, and this is why I can see that you guys are multidimensional. You're multifaceted. You don't just take the creativity sonically. It's not just the music, it's the visuals, it's the aesthetic as well. Where is the style coming from? Because we all know what Boston dudes look like. They got their hat from the neighborhood they're from, they got jeans, boots. It's very standard. But you guys I don't know what the word is, but it's different. But it's still hip hop, it's still hood, but it's got a sprinkle of bougie to it. So let me ask you this. So when you're putting together an ensemble, what are the things you're looking for? You're not just trying to match colors. Are you trying to match like textures? Are you trying to match certain types of fabrics? You know what I mean? And maybe I'm going a little too deep into that, but like, or are you just kind of, you see what looks good together and you're just kind of placing it together?
For me, my style really develops from like video games I've played.
Okay.
Anime.
I was not expecting that. Video games. So you trying to emulate characters?
Like Dante from Devil May Cry.
Okay.
You ever play Devil May Cry?
I'm not much of a gamer.
That shit. Devil May Cry.
So when you were playing video games, you were looking at their outfits.
Yeah. For the most part, yeah, because it's like
I've never known.
Yeah, anime. You know what I'm saying? Like the outfits on anime go crazy. But then also it's like even from Kanye with the pink polo. You know what I'm saying? Like Travis. You know what I'm saying? Like shit. It's just like it's a mix of like streetwear with high fashion.
That's a good description.
What I mean? And I fuck with designer. You know what I'm saying? Like I be mixing it up, but I'm not really like designer don't really mean drip. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's a style, it's a swag.
Yeah, it's like how you put shit together.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Because like New York Fashion Week, it's not about Dior, Amiri. It's not about that shit.
Sure.
It's about how you put shit together. Because the designers who actually like own these brands, they're looking for people who can just like mix and match.
Yeah.
Just put shit together for the most part and just be them.
I mean, it's dope because an outfit's like a canvas in itself, and you kind of painting the picture. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
And I remember going to the very first post I went on Retro's page. You had a collection of photos, but did you have like a lyric quote under it? Like, was it a poem? It's your last post. You're literally your last post. Maybe you posted something since then, but the other day, your last post, your very first post.
Ex-bitch mad one.
And I was just like, yo, this is creative. Like, you know what I mean? It's simple, but I don't.
This nigga said that.
So is that are those lyrics or is that a poem?
I'm about to. Oh, the one where it has like different quotes at the bottom. Yeah. So that shoot came about mainly. This is like one of the first, actually, if anything, the first photographer I ever shot with. Mainly ever like starting anything in terms of my artistry or music. Me and him just kind of, run the gun and just shoot and just kind of think of certain ideas while we're shooting. But then this idea that I came up of, and this is what, like, all of what you saw is actually, my bad. All of what you saw was actually like me and what I edited into the pictures, basically. He shot them, but they were basically, I wanted to basically put together like a little, I don't know. It's like a kind of like it's like a take what you can get from it basically type of post basically. And you can either interpret it into like a some people can say it's a toxicity post. Some people can say it's an ex bitch mad post. Some people could say it's just a loving type of post. Some people could say it's a I miss you type of post.
Sure.
Like, it's basically what I wanted to put behind it is the concept of love and what you could like take from it, basically.
Okay.
Because I don't know, like in terms of art, I feel like love can actually stick out like really strongly if you use it the right way.
Absolutely.
But obviously, like, you know, in this day of age, you know, I added my little spice, and you could, you know, take what you want.
Sure. So your whole aesthetic, is it so? I mean, obviously, retro is your name. Are you kind of like bringing? Is like a like a nod to the throwback, or like a?
Yeah, that's what. Okay, see, I fuck with him because you actually get it. Like, so that's basically what the norms of my name came from. Basically, like Halo comes from my real name, which is Angel, but retro comes from. I'm a very in tune person in terms of like today's age of like music, fashion, art, like anything you can name of basically. But retro also applies to the fact that I'm also retrograding all the time and back and like in the past basically. Like I'm always retrograding back then.
All right, that's
because
dope. That's dope. That's dope.
I don't know, like when you hear my music, you kind of hear everything. You hear a very new sound, but you can hear a lot of old style things in it as well. And that's not even just with my music. It's just like with the type of art that I like, how I like to present myself, my fashion, like anything basically. That's just, I don't know, that's one of the best ways I can explain it, let's say. I'm just always retrograding back in time, but I still deliver a
modern sound. Sure. No, and that's the very first thing that I noticed, because it's just like, you know, you have like the dirty, quote unquote, low quality kind of look, but it looks present. It looks modern, and I was just like, this is dope. And this is going back to you guys being very unique. Where does that come from? Like, is that something? Because I realize in my old age, it's very easy to fall into the pack and want to do what everyone else is doing, because we all want to fit in on some level, right?
Yeah.
Are you guys actively trying to be different? Is that
I
something in
wouldn't
the back of your
say
mind?
that. I just like, for me, I feel like I've always been this way. Like, it's not like I'm trying to be different. Like, I just always, like.
What makes you so comfortable being you?
You know how like Earl Sweatshirt said in I forgot what song it is, but he was like, he was like, damn, bro, he said some shit like too black for the white kids, too white for the black. You feel me? Like, I feel like for me, I just always never really fit in like anywhere I went. I always,
and you were comfortable
was
with
the black sheep, and eventually, yeah, I grew comfortable.
It wasn't always like that.
It was always like that. Like, I just.
Where does that come from? Is that because of your family and how they supported you, and like what makes you so sure of yourself? Because, you know, being a young person coming up, being unsure of themselves, people, it's like I said, it's really easy for people to fall into line and try to be like everybody else.
I just feel like I just accepted the fact that I'm not like everyone else.
Sure.
And you know, like, I just always have my own sense of like individuality. Okay. So like I just kind of embraced it after a while.
That's dope.
You know, that like there was a point where it was just like I just knew that I was, you know, not, or trying to stay away from what everyone else was doing, but then it just got to the point where it's like
it's accepted.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I just kind of made it cool. You know what I mean? Like, I just made that shit kind of cool for me. Like, I don't know, I just made it like normal and cool type shit. Like, you know, like, I just, to the point where I don't even think about it anymore. You know what I mean? I just have my own sense of what I do. And like, I'm not even gonna lie, like, the music helped. Like, the music helped with that, because it gives people more of a chance to understand the way I think.
And to explore and to experiment and all that.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Because like, even like growing up listening to music, like back to when I was saying, like, you know, the whole Travis and all of that, like, I never personally fucked with anyone's music 100%. I fucked with certain aspects of what people would do, but I would always be like, all right, yeah, I fuck with this, but this is what I would add to it. You know what I mean? And then it just got to the point where it's like,
that's what makes you different. What you just said right there, that's what makes you different.
And what I can say in terms of what we have in common, before I even get into individually what I could say makes me different, is like we still were enough of, I guess you could say, in the mix to like understand it all from one perspective to the other, one side or to the other basically, and that side basically to ours, and we, you know what I mean, like with that knowledge and still wanting to deliver ourselves with that, basically, it speaks, it, rings in certain rooms, I guess you could say. And like, then what I could say, like, in terms of what I have individually, in terms of what I guess I can say, how I consider myself different is just like, I just don't give a fuck. Like, I just want to be myself. Like, I don't really give a fuck about being one person or the other. I don't really try to be one person or the other. Sure. You can view me one way, or you can.
Was that always the case, though? Because
yes.
I'm going to say this.
Yes. Wholeheartedly, I will say yes.
You guys make it seem like it's easy to do that. That's a very brave thing for you to do.
So this is the other thing I forgot to add in. Like, I've been every social status that there was from elementary to high school to now.
Okay.
I've been the cool kid. I've been the bullied. I've been the bully. I've been the nerd. I've been spectrum. Everything.
Sure.
And from all of those, what I realized is that, like, I'm gonna just be me. You feel me? Like, no bullshit. I'm okay with being the weirdo.
Sure.
I'm okay with being the quiet person that everyone's like, oh yeah, that's Ray being Ray. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay. Because at the end of the day, like, I just embrace myself type shit.
Now, was there ever a point you were scared to just be you? Like, you just kind of fell into line? Because, like I said, that takes a lot of bravery. You guys make it seem like it's easy or so. Maybe it's a generational thing. Maybe you guys are just comfortable with being who you are.
We're only human, so we do have certain thoughts, but by the end of the day, that's what we're blessed with, is being able to think and still being able to realize who the fuck we are after those thoughts, and actually, being able to come in terms with what the fuck we actually want to deliver to this world and to us, even most of
How old are you, bro?
21.
Where are y'all coming from? Like, y'all are very wise for your age, I have to say. I mean, like, really, you guys are very developmentally. You guys seem like you have a good understanding of who you are and where you want to go.
I guess you could say this is a stubborn trait, but we just know what we want.
And I respect it. So, kind of, expanding on the idea, the notion of where you want to go. Where do you want to go? What does success look like to you guys? What do you want to accomplish in this game?
No limits.
Financial freedom.
Okay.
To be honest.
No limits.
That's a pretty good start.
Yeah.
No limits.
For me, like, financial freedom and passive income, just creating
sure
multiple sources of passive income.
Okay.
I want to be at a point where it's like I'm sitting on my ass and my money's growing.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
But obviously that's going to take a lot of energy, and it's going to take a lot of work to set those things in place.
Sure.
But that's really what the goal is.
And how's your work ethic?
Honestly, no bullshit. Like,
it's like 2-3 songs of you, brother. I need more.
It's like, yo, no matter, like, this is the thing. Like, all my teachers, they could say, like, yeah, he was troublesome, but he did his work.
Okay.
He made sure he finished his work.
Okay.
I always, like, if I got into any trouble at school or anything, like, it's because, like, bro, I finished my work and I was bored.
Okay.
No bullshit.
Okay.
And, like, no matter what job I work, it's almost like I have my first week or two, bullshitting and being lazy and shit.
Okay.
Once I snap into it, it's just like, it's like I do it as a career type shit. Like, I'm really good at doing a lot of different things. Sure. I'm a fast learner. I pick up and I put my all into that shit.
Sure.
But the thing is, like, I know what I want to do type shit. Sure. So it's just like, I know in the back of my head it's temporary, but I'm here. So it's like, fuck am I going to do? Like, bullshit.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
So you you mentioned what you want to accomplish, you know, from a business standpoint. Creatively, what are some milestones that you want to achieve? Are there artists that you want to work with? You mentioned, I mean, obviously you have a label and you want to create essentially what it sounds like, a production house that essentially, creates, everything that involves music in general, just content creation. Because I mean, it's kind of what it is.
There are milestones, but we are ones who really respect the process as much as we do respect the milestone as well. So we respect that. What we most want to accomplish right now are the goals that we have in place right now.
Which are?
So.
Okay.
I'll elaborate a little bit, but I'll just say for the most part, it's being able to put a hand in the production of almost everything. Okay. At least.
So an executive producer in a sense.
Type shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, just being able to be present and what's the fucking word? Present and having a hand in it as well, involved as well, in some sort of aspect, way, shape, or form.
Sure.
And in terms of artists I want to work with, I would say on a all right. So as you start to see as I keep dropping, my music will develop into a sense of rage, so all right. It really started from Kanye. Then after Kanye, it was Kanye, Kid Cudi. After that bred Travis. After Travis came Playboy Cardi, fucking Playboy Cardi, X, the whole SoundCloud era, right? After the SoundCloud era is Rage. That's
What's Rage.
Rage is the newer sound. So I guess Trippie Redd kind of
and what's on file? What's on file? Basically, at the moment, people call it either rage trap music or vapor trap, and those are the basically subgenres of.
So explain to me some of the musical characteristics. Is it mellow, melancholy? Is it sad?
Some people will call it video game music. That's what some
trailer
people.
Music.
Yeah.
So when I think of video game,
I literally everything is
more
it's
everything.
So it could be everything.
It's everything. Some people make some Super Mario type shit. Some people make some Zelda type shit. Some people make some Pokemon. So it's just really just. I don't know. For me, it just has a, no pun intended, but it has a really retro sound to it.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? And I feel it's really called Rage. You know what I mean? And so from the SoundCloud era, it really started from it started to change from Trippie and Juice WRLD.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And X was really the first person to go versatile.
Sure.
Really, and just
I love X, man. I love how unique and how unapologetic he was. He was who he was.
He got rid of the barrier. You feel
That's
me?
A fact.
From that, now you have Yeet, who's on top of the game right now. You have Sofego, you have Ken Carson, you have K Suave, you have.
I don't know any of these kids. I gotta look into them.
I mean, it's all rage. That's the whole thing.
Okay.
It's all rage.
You know about Yeet?
I never heard of Yeet.
What?
Yeet's on top of the game right now.
Where's he from?
Rage. He's from the South somewhere.
He's from New York and LA, I think, or Cali. I think that's where he's from. I don't know.
So the rage sound evolved from the SoundCloud era.
Yeah, it was it was a SoundCloud music, then they called it Cardi beats. You know what I'm saying? It just gave Playboy Cardi the whole
wave, yeah.
Yeah, that's Cardi beats. But the whole thing was
it in terms of producers, Pierre beats, Pierre Bourne.
Yeah, you feel me? And the thing about the Cardi wave and sound was only he could do that shit. You can't if you try to replicate that shit, you're gonna crash and burn. You cannot.
And that's what.
And he's the only person. He's the only person that could do that shit. Anyone else trying to do that Cardi shit, it's not really going that well.
I feel like you guys are on your way to accomplishing that. I'm telling you, if you guys are consistent for the next 5 years, you're gonna be a problem.
Feel me?
serious problem. Like, I'm not saying that you guys won't pop off before then. I mean, career-wise, I'm talking about from a creative standpoint. You guys are going to be a problem. You know, but like, I'm talking about, like, listen, I got years ahead of you guys. You know what I mean? And you guys are in your early 20s. You guys, your brains are ain't even fully developed. That's not going to be developed until you're 24, 25. You guys are still learning. You guys are still growing as young men.
This ain't even the beat.
If you guys can stay out of trouble, you can stay out of trouble and work on you're going to be a problem. You know?
And then we're going to look back to this conversation.
Yeah, and this is I really feel like you, and I may be biased because, you know, I'm home. You guys are homegrown. You guys are from the city, but I from the very little that you guys gave us, I see a lot of promise. Now let's talk about the subject matters in your music. Like, what are your lyrics about? Like, what themes you guys tend to gravitate towards?
So I just try to keep it short and sweet. I don't try to say too much, and I don't try to say too little.
Okay.
I just really just make music about the things that I go through. You know what I mean? So like I won't really put too many different like categories in one track. Like,
yeah.
I don't mean to speak on other people, but some other people would make a track and they talk about their whole fucking life. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's cool. But it's like, my goal is like, by the time the song's done playing, you get the general consensus of what I'm saying.
Sure.
So that's really the subject matter. I just speak on like, you know, like I speak on my hardships. So like, if someone did me dirty, whether it's a shorty, whether it's, you know, someone turning their back on me, stabbing me, or whatever the case is.
Sure.
Like, I just try to make it short and sweet and straight to the point type shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I basically just like, how I relate to that is like, I'm the same way. Like, I try to just mainly make music on like what I go through and what I see and like my experiences in general, because one thing I value the most about life, and yeah, it's just basically one of the greatest things I value in life in general, is education. And on a sub note of that, what I value the most is education through experience. And like, I feel like experience can, like 5 minutes, let's say, out in the world can teach you much more than a whole freaking textbook worth on one subject. 100%. Let's just say you can literally write a whole book on 10 seconds of like this moment right now. And like, I don't know, like, I try to put that into it. Like, in general, I don't know, I try to live my life the best way I could. I guess I try to really soak in a lot of certain experiences that I go through and actually.
Let me ask you this: Who do you attribute your worldview from? Like, is it the people you came up under? Like, where does this
just
mindset
what I
come
get,
from?
Just what I go through every day. Okay. That's literally it, and I apply that.
It's a lesson you learn from experience.
Yeah, it's like what I go through every day, and I apply that to my music. And like, I just, what you hear, like some songs you'll hear like that are of what I did the other day, or some songs will be of love, or some songs will be of family, or some songs will be of everything. Some songs will just be of me having fun. Some songs can consist of me saying, fuck you, get the fuck out my face. Some songs can say, oh, like, you know what I mean? They can say anything, sure. Like, and I'm just, I don't know, like.
You're just basically expressing your experiences.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to give you the most I can give you of me through it, basically. Sure. So, like, I don't know.
So, who do you make your music for? I know the first answer is always myself. we know this answer, all right? But who do you make your music for, would you say?
So,
me and I.
So, I started off like, so like, it goes back to when I was like saying like, I would like certain aspects of a lot of different songs.
Sure.
But I would always be like, yeah, but I would add this type shit. So at first, yeah, it started off as like me making music for myself, like just making shit that I personally fully fuck with.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And then from there, it kind of just stemmed from like I'm just talking to like all the people that felt like or that feel like they don't really have a voice. You know what I mean? Because like one thing that I battled was that a lot of times I would be talking and I would feel like I still wasn't heard. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that shit fucked with me heavy.
Absolutely.
And also like I was pretty long-winded, still am sometimes, at times.
Very self-aware of you.
But that's why I try to keep my music short and sweet. Try to just get straight to the point. You know what I mean? Because like I'm really just speaking for or speaking to people that feel like they don't really have a voice.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about yourself? Who do you make your music for?
Eventually I wanna, you know, if it's not for myself, I make it for the world. Like I make it for anybody who can relate, and I also make it for my family, especially because I want to be able to provide for them through this eventually, if not already. So, like, I'm really in it for what it is.
Okay.
To continue on the last point, I also do this because it's one of my main passions that I have out of my life. It's one of the main things that's always been in my life ever since I could remember. So
what was your household like musically? What influenced you as a youngin?
it's so funny. I think if not a long distant cousin in my family, I think I'm like the only one that was really wanting to be as musically in tune as I am right now.
So you always gravitated towards music, even though that wasn't really supported in your environment?
My family, I was mainly on track at first to be big in sports, actually. Like my mom and dad mainly wanted me to be big in baseball, which was my main sport.
Okay.
And I was on track to being, the big leagues of that, and I threw all of that away for art, which is what I wanted and what I loved. Like,
do you ever second guess that decision?
Of course, like there's been mad times where I was like, of course, like I obviously know where I could have been, especially by now if I stuck with that path, but I'm still so happy with what I decided to do because it's what I wanted to do. I knew it's exactly what I wanted to do with my life, not what they wanted for my life.
Takes a lot of courage.
And I love them, you know what I mean? And they only want the best for you, but like I'm not gonna be happy with my life if I'm gonna live my life according to other people's standards. So I'm just like, that's just where a lot of that comes from, let's just say.
Do you guys have any performance experience? So you guys have performed local shows. Have you opened up for anybody?
Locally, we're working on the openings.
Okay,
just local.
Just local. Okay. So what are some of the venues you've performed at?
Well, I performed in New York at this bar. It's called Love Story.
Okay.
Downstairs, there's like a little stage. Yeah, it's in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Yeah. It's called Love Story.
I'm going there tomorrow.
It's like a bar. Upstairs they do like karaoke and shit, and downstairs is like a stage, and
it's kind of like Middle East in Cambridge. You ever been to Middle East in Cambridge?
Yeah, Middle East, but it's smaller.
I've performed.
It's smaller than Middle East.
Okay.
Yeah, it's smaller.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, performance will always be a key component for every artist, but I feel like I won't say less significant, but because you guys were brought up in the digital age, there are a lot of people that pop off just off of songs off the internet and out the gate are getting 10 bands for their first performance. You remember Slim Jesus? Yeah, and I love you guys just roll your eyes. Remember how came up with that one song out the gate? I heard his very first performance. Never performed before, never worked on this craft. Got 10 bands for his first performance after that song popped.
I fuck with savages. You a fuck boy. You can't hang.
It's a good song. It's just the messenger, right? The messenger. Yeah. I mean, I can't say it enough.
I've been performing at Hustle Killer. Hustle Killer is a local streetwear store in Malden.
So it's like an in-store. Okay.
Yeah, so they shout out to Greatness ASF.
Okay.
He's one of the promoters that really go hard with like giving opportunities to whoever, whether it's comedians, artists, like giving them a stage and a mic to perform.
Every scene needs that.
Yeah, and it's every, I want to say every first Saturday of the month, and every Wednesday they have performances at the Jungle.
Okay.
So they have an open mic, so you just pull up, you know, get your rocks off, and then, you know what I'm saying, after it's karaoke, you know. So I've been fucking with that. You know what I mean? Pulling up, showing love, and you know, sometimes performing, you know, but just for the most part, just supporting, you know.
Okay.
That's really, you know, it. Sonya, he had a performance at it was this event called Now or Never. It was Now or Never, right? It was by the Thrill House. So like the Thrill is like another Boston based like group that facilitates like a lot of open events and like a lot of like events that show Boston artists specifically like a lot of support.
Sure.
You know, so this last event, it was Saturday. Yeah, it was Saturday night. That show was in Brockton, and it was a warehouse party. But that show was jumping. I can't even lie to you. That show was like, it was supposed to be a show, but that shit was just too packed out. It was too packed out to the point where it's just like, yeah, like all artists had to go upstairs to the VIP area and just play their unreleased music and, you know, perform, do what they gotta do type shit.
Now, I know you guys are still kind of in your developmental stage, and, you know, you still have essentially a catalog to put out there to kind of, you know, show the world what it is that you have to offer. But eventually, do you feel like you guys have to leave Boston in order to kind of achieve that next level?
To be honest, from what I've learned and seen, it gets to a point where like this hierarchy pyramid in Boston, you get to the top and it's like you still don't really amount to anything. You know what I mean?
There isn't much of an industry in Boston.
Exactly.
There are a lot of artists.
There's a lot of artists, but there's not much of an industry. Like, I fuck with Boston. There's a lot of talent in Boston, but like
a lot of crabs in a bucket.
Crabs in a barrel.
That's a different conversation. But go ahead.
But I just feel like the scene isn't developed enough to breed stars.
You had a couple of guys who popped off. You have Bia, you have, you know, Micro Christmas.
Shout out to them.
Was it Micro Christmas? Was it Micro Christmas?
Shout out to them.
There's cousin Stiz, you know.
Well, Millie's is from Cambridge.
He's from Cambridge. But I mean, from the greater Boston area.
Yeah,
Millie's, I mean, like, when I was involved in the music scene, this was the mid-2000s. He was around back then, so he's like 15 plus years in to get to this point. You know what I mean? He really grinded, you know. That goes to show you. And he had to leave. He left Boston 2013, 2014, which is why I brought up that question. He had to leave in order to really pop off.
And that's the thing, like, there's, like, the scene isn't developed enough to breed stars. So, with that being said, is you get to a certain point out here, and back to what you said, crabs in a barrel, it's just like everyone else is doing the same shit you're doing. It's just like people look at you, or artists, other people look at you like, all right, well, he's doing the same thing I'm doing, so he can't be that much greater than me because we're in the same place. So, like, yeah, you have to leave eventually because at the end of the day, it's like you got to bring them back home. You know what I mean? And, like, New York, there are record labels.
Yeah.
Like, actual
industry.
Literally, like, there's actual record labels that will sign you, give you an advance, all of that shit.
That's a goal of yours, is to be signed to a label.
It's
a little murky, man. It's a little weird with the labels.
It's like, I'm not gonna lie, it just gotta make sense. I'm not gonna say that I won't.
Sure.
I'm not gonna say that I will.
Sure.
It just gotta make sense.
And the reason why, and I'm not discouraging anybody from signing with the label. It's just what's unique to your generation is that you don't necessarily need one, right? One of the biggest advantages that labels had back, 20 years ago was they had the ability to distribute your music, right?
100%.
Where now, where everything is done digitally, and you no longer just have these compact CDs and DVDs or whatever that you have to print up. You can literally, you have 2-3 songs out. Well, one of your songs has 6,000 plus, another song has 5,000 plus. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Out the gate. Where before you'd have to press those CDs somehow in order to get those songs in people's hands.
But that's the thing, like being independent, like what people don't talk about is like, yeah, it's a cool look and all, but you have to be your own management. You have to be your own PR. You have to be your own A&R. You know what I mean? Like you got to just do everything yourself. So it's not just distribution. It's the budget that comes for visuals, the budget that comes for photo shoots, for beat production, for and studio time. Like all those things are in your hands. You feel me? Like, so it's not bad being independent. It's just you gotta just take care of everything yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And a lot of people complain that like artists have to, pull money out of their pockets before they see a return, but that's what comes with it.
That's
you
the
feel
reality.
me? And if you're signed, they take care of those things for you.
Sure.
You feel me? But it all comes with the cost. So it's like, that's why I say it gotta make sense, because it's just like, it's a double-edged sword. You really just choose what you want. You know what I mean? Like, you choose what works for you.
Yeah, so you guys have music coming out, one song every month. What about yourself? Is that the same plan for you, or you mentioned that you have an album coming out this summer?
So yeah, like what I'm basically mainly trying to push right now is the album as a whole itself.
Okay.
And I'm dropping 2 videos along with the album.
Okay.
Push and roll out anyway.
Okay.
So like, there's a lot of content coming, let's just say. But I am going to drop a single here and there. But what I'm also dropping a lot more mainly is just like well-rounded content I can drop.
Gotcha.
In general right now. Like vlogs, like that photo shoot you saw the other day that you saw.
So when it comes to the video stuff, is Ben Regular? Is that who he is? What was the name of it?
Ben Regular, my other boy Zandros right over here. Shout out Zandros. Get in here, boy. He gonna get in on. Yo. What up? I don't know if he's on there. Okay. This Zandros though, but these are the two. Yeah, they are the two main.
Let's do it Nardwar style. Let's bring over.
Oh hell yeah.
So introduce yourself.
What up, Zandros?
Okay. What do you do?
I do videos, photos.
Okay.
Well-rounded.
Okay.
Bunch of stuff.
So basically, you take care of the content for these guys.
Yeah.
Bro, I
new to it, but
we need more stuff, brother. We need more stuff.
He's already there.
All right. We need
we
more
on the
stuff.
way. We on the way.
All
For
right.
sure.
All right. Who's next up?
This is Sonye, our protege engineer.
Yep. So who are you and what are you doing?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
My name's Sonye.
And what do you do?
I record. I make stuff. I create.
So how old are you?
I'm 19.
Okay. No, and I've heard a lot of your music, man. You're a very talented young man. You know what I'm saying? And I'll definitely have you guys in here again. You know what I mean? I want to hear your story as well. You know what I'm saying? What you got going on? My man, come in.
This is Akito. This is my boy.
Okay.
He's also an artist. He got some shit dropping.
Okay. So make sure you're in the frame.
Yeah, got some shit dropping. You feel me? Kind of not really a late bloomer. Kind of starting to take it way more serious. Sure. So I got a couple of content coming out. I'm trying to get an EP ready for this summer. Okay. Dropping more singles soon, very soon. And
video.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I think that's a good place to end, fellas. You know what I mean? It was great to learn more about you guys. I am invested in your journey. I want to see you guys win. For the home team, you guys are smart. You guys seem like you have a purpose. You guys seem like you know who you are. And that is very rare for people for your age group. You know, I know people who are in their 40s still don't have a goddamn clue who they are. It's sad, but it seems like you guys have a good sense of self. And I've
known what the hell I wanted to do since
very young age. Yeah. And I can tell.
I've had the strong love and passion for it.
You know,
I've had the mind for it.
So share it with the world. Stop being greedy. Let's hear it.
That's exactly what we're working on.
Let's hear it. You know, because we live in a day and age where quality is important. Quality is the most important attribute to any form of art. But because of the onslaught of content that people are being hit with on a day-to-day basis, you need to have some kind of quantity in order to keep up, to kind of make sure you stay in people's faces. You know what I mean? The music is from what I heard, the music's there, no doubt. It's just my only concern is the consistency in the catalog, because like I said, you left me wanting more, which is a good sign, but I have a short-term memory. You know what I mean? That's the issue. You know what I mean? If I want more, but if I don't hear from you from a week, I forgot who you even were. And that's my only concern with you guys. But you guys are still young. You mentioned that you guys are all about the process, which is the most important attribute for any artist of any form. The process. It's not about the end result. It's not about getting the bag at the end. It's about the mud and the sweat and the tears in order to get to the place of prosperity. You know what I mean? And I fucking respect that. You know what I mean? I like I said, I'm invested in your journey. I'm looking out for you guys. Any way that I can help you guys achieve your goals, I want to see you guys win. Let me know. I'd love to have you guys back. So what are your socials? Where can people find you?
Retro Halo on everything, Go Getters on everything, and Yotic, WIZYOTIC on everything.
Okay, wait, so before you go, what does that mean?
So Yotic is like young exotic.
Okay.
It really stemmed from smoking exotic weed.
Sure.
Like that type of thing. But then the Wiz was just like, it kind of comes from the Khalifa.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But also it's just like, it's kind of a term of endearment.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like positive affirmation.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like Wiz, you feel me? I've always been good with math. Extraordinarily.
It's important, especially in business.
Yeah, you feel me? So and the other thing too is I'm a fast learner.
Yeah.
So
bet.
You feel me? And Yotic is young exotic.
All right, go getters. Until next time, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Yo, that was a great conversation.